Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Neil Robinson. I'm an attorney with the Nixon Pruitt Law Firm in Charleston, but today I'm here as chairman of the South Carolina Education Oversight Committee. The Oversight Committee is an independent, nonpartisan group that's made up of educators, business people like myself, and legislators who work collaboratively to make decisions that positively impact young people in South Carolina and in our public school system. And I'm pleased to be here today to announce a partnership with the University of South Carolina Athletic Department and Coach Frank Martin to help young people learn, get this, math is fun and relevant. As a former math educator, Coach Martin often heard from students asking why they needed to learn certain skills in math, skills they thought they would never have to use in everyday life. And he's obviously not forgotten those days because he reached out to the EOC about starting Martin's Math Club to help students in South Carolina know that math is not only relevant to them now and in the future, but it can be fun. The EOC is pleased to work with Coach Martin in this exciting project. Came along at an opportune time as we're working on how to best put our resources out to families and others about supporting students that are taking math in their outside of school activities. Martin's Math Club, to my knowledge, is the only one like it in the United States today. So it's a big deal. With the help of South Carolina educators, the EOC has now developed 18 standards-based lessons for grades kindergarten through 8th grade that incorporate math and basketball. So you can learn details about this. You've got a press packet that's been passed out to you, and you can go online to www.helpwithmathsc.org. And on behalf of the EOC, I just want to thank the Gamecock Athletics Department and especially thank Coach Martin here today for his work on behalf of young people in South Carolina. Coach, thank you, and the EOC's here to help you any way that we can.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robinson. Real quick, because this is something that we've been trying to put together for a while. My wife and I, you hear me speak all the time about trying to give back and do our part. Education is what I base my life on. It's the only reason why I do what I do today is because of education. And as a guy that ended up teaching mathematics in the inner city that he grew up in, what a great way to give back, to help teachers, parents, and obviously the young people that sit in the classrooms. I remember, I'll share two quick stories why this is so dear to me. And by the way, in the back of the room, Josh Waters, who's my point person here on campus that's helped collaborate with the EOC and Mr. Robinson to put all this together. But a couple stories. The first time I ever stood, I just told Mr. Robinson in the hallway, first time I ever stood in front of the classroom as a full-time Algebra 1 teacher. We're sitting there and we're talking, and I used to get all the students that were like me, not the ones that kind of show up with their books ready to go. It's the ones that they're trying to figure out how little they have to do to get through your class. And I remember standing up there, and this one guy who I knew because I lived in the neighborhood, he said, "Coach, man, but really, when are we ever going to use math in real life?" And I'm lucky. The Lord drops thoughts in my mind, and I'm able to articulate my thoughts sometimes. And I looked at him. I said, "Here's the thing. Mathematics is all about problems. It's how to figure out how to solve a problem. The older you get, the more problems you will have. Mathematics will teach you logic, and through logic, you figure out how to think things through so you can solve the problems that life will throw at you." I have no idea why I said that. I'll never forget that moment, and I thought that was a powerful moment for me as a teacher on my first day ever, to get someone that didn't care for math to understand the value of math. And then there's another instance later on as a college basketball coach. We lost a game at Missouri and we were both top 10 teams. And after the game, a gentleman, a reporter, a national reporter, asked me something along the lines of, when you're in January and you're in the top 10 in the country, obviously your team's doing things the right way. And the reporter said, hey, now that you guys lost, do you think you can get your guys to listen to you? And I kind of felt like saying something kind of snotty because no one likes to lose, and I didn't think that was a very good question at the time, given where both teams were at. But once again, the good Lord dropped the thought process in my mind, and I said, if I were to follow your logic, then I would only teach my students on days that they flunk an exam. And education's an everyday thing, and it's a matter of making people understand the value of what they're trying to learn, why it's important for them. Back in the day where we as kids, we did what teachers said because they said to do it. We no longer, as adults, have that luxury because of social media and just the different avenues that kids have to research information. So we have to educate them as to why it's important. And that's why this project is so important to me. As we started studying this, and I've got a couple notes that I've got here, our math scores have been declining in the state year after year. Math's so important. My own kids, something else that we want to establish with this, my kids come home, and I help them with their homework. Mom helps them with English. I help them with math. And I've got to go back and read the book sometimes so I can figure out how to solve the problems that they have in school. I used to teach mathematics. I shouldn't have to do that. So it's refreshed in my mind how important it is that we can also help the parents so they understand how to help their children with math problems. And then the most important people that are the most disrespected people in our profession all over the country, which is our teachers. Be able to let the teachers know how important they are to what we want out of society. If anyone ever pays attention to anything I say, it's the most underpaid, disrespected profession in our society today, are teachers. And we have to do a better job of supporting them, helping them, so they can do their job, which is what we're all striving to do, which is educate our young people.
Good. Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir. And thank you. Thank you. Uh-oh.
Time for math.
You think when's the last time Cornblue sat in a classroom and did a math problem?
Math 102, spring of 1976.
I don't even want to ask you your grade.
Open book test, closed it. That's not cheating.
Can you imagine if I answered the question the way he just answered the question? There'd be 97 investigations filed into me. First problem. You guys are going to have to help me here in the back, because I didn't bring my cheat sheet with me. But I believe it's 5 plus, is it -6? Is it -6? No, -5. All right, something real simple. And another thing about math is when people are young, you have to try and teach them how to think things through so they can understand, not memorize. Memorizing doesn't help you learn. Memorizing just gets you to repeat stuff. You have to understand logic. So you can't memorize things. So what I used to tell kids all the time was anytime you have a number that's a positive, there's no sign in front of the number, so it's assumed it's a positive, and one that's a negative, what you do is you subtract. Subtract the big number, subtract the small number from the big number. Well, here they're both the same. So anytime they're the same, it's 0. So what happens? It's 0. 0 is neither negative nor positive. So that's easy. Well, when the numbers are different, what's the next one then?
-6.
5 plus -6. Well, what do? Disregard the signs. Once again, you've got a positive and a negative. Disregard them and learn how to subtract. So if you got, I believe we got some sample basketball designs in the packets that you were given. That's to help fill out, okay? So you figure out you got 6. Well, if you're going to take 5 away, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it leaves you 1. So you go to number 1, and then you go back and see which number was greater, the 6 or the 5. Well, obviously 6 is greater than 5. So then you take the sign that's attached to the 6, and your answer is -1. Okay? And then the last one is, and what is it?
6 plus -5.
6 plus -5. Use the same thought process. Disregard the signs of the numbers. It's not a negative, it's not a positive. 6 minus 5. So once again, you take your 6 players. I hope they let us play with 6. It'd make life a lot easier. Take your 6 players. You subtract 5 of them. Leaves you 1. So the answer is 1. However, this time, the 6 is bigger than the 5. The 6 is the positive number, so it's a positive 1. Simple little things, but things that are so important for life. Think about figuring out a way to balance your checkbook. Think about understanding how not to spend more money than you make. Little things like that, so kids understand how important it is, how valuable it is, that they comprehend something so minor allows them to succeed at something that's so important for the rest of their life. Kids don't understand that. If you tell kids in today, when I was a kid, we had no money, so we didn't care about money. Kids today's day and age, everything's about money. My children, that's all they want to talk about, money, my allowance. I'll clean everything you need me for how much? Well, we start talking deduction. So if you don't clean this one room, you're only getting 90% of what your allowance is. So they got to figure out how to do math if they want to succeed. So important for what we're doing. So this is dear to me, dear to my wife. It's about education. So I'm absolutely ecstatic for the work Josh and the EOC's put together to create this opportunity to empower teachers and parents to help young people.